Okay, so good morning, everybody. Today we are here with Arlo Sanchez, who is one of our UST candidates. So, Arlo, tell us about yourself. Introduce yourself.
My name is John Arlo F. Sanchez. How old am I? I'm 18 years old and I go to Colegio San Agustin Makati. I'm currently a STEM student. So I'm really interested in science and math and technology. And I'm just really happy to be here.
Okay, so you mentioned earlier that you're a STEM student. Do you think your hobbies are very similar to your subject, or would you say otherwise?
I would say it isn't particularly like that. However, I'm pretty well-rounded. I do enjoy science, especially going outdoors and observing and going into nature. I'm really into that stuff. I'm also into learning more about the body and memorizing the different parts in preparation for the LeapMed entrance exam, of course. But on the flip side, I also like I'm very interested in business, in finance, and in personal development. And I believe that learning not just about sciences will help me go further in life.
So you mentioned a lot of knowledge-heavy things over there. So would you say that you're a bookworm? Do you have any favorite books? Do you read?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm a bookworm, but I wish I was. But yes, I read books such as personal finance books. One of my top favorite are Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Lean Startup, and the Cash Flow Quadrant. And this has taught me how to manage my finances, which it's not taught in school. That's why I find it very important for me to learn now as an investment for the future. And also like learning science, like the anatomy physiology textbook that you guys have in UST, the senior high school health allied strand. I read that book, enjoyed it, and I can't wait to learn more about it.
You said that you wish that these things were taught earlier, like personal finance and stuff. You said that this isn't taught in your school curriculum. So would you want to like elaborate more on the importance of schools having this in the future, maybe?
Oh, sure. So just to highlight the importance of it, when we are graduating from school, we aren't taught a lot of important stuff like doing your taxes. And one of that is managing your finances. I believe with the high school debt and the debt that we will accumulate further on in life, we will need to know how to manage them. And unfortunately, school doesn't teach that. So we must take matters into our own hands. Whether we like it or not, we can't run away from debt. We can't run away from money because we have to be able to manage them. So it's less of like an interest and more of like a necessity. Like you don't need to be an IT expert to know about computers. It's just a necessity.
Yeah, I agree. And then what would you say about your extracurricular activities? Anything you do outside of school, be it hobbies or anything else?
My extracurriculars, they include sports and music. My friends back before the pandemic started, they told me I play too many sports. Well, that's not true. I just play one or two: basketball and badminton and tennis. And I used to play soccer. But yes, I just find that playing sports is a good way to socialize with friends. It's a good way to have a drip, to lose a sweat, and it's a great way to release some steam. And I believe that balancing between extracurriculars and academics is important, because when you do well in your academics, you do well in your extracurriculars and the other way around. So
Yeah.
besides sports, I also enjoy volunteering in organizations. I'm in the DIMFNA Society, and I'm the academics head, which is a mental health organization. And we try our best, we do our best in helping our students and our members alleviate their mental health issues and make sure they feel like they're in the family.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So you mentioned earlier that you gave an exam for the UST LeapMed. So tell us more about that. Why did you choose medicine?
Oh, why did I choose medicine? Is that the question?
Yeah.
So growing up, I've been very fond of science, and not just any sciences, but particularly in life science. I'm interested in how the human body works. And generally, I just love serving people. And if I can understand how people work to the biological level, I'll be able to help them in any way that I can.
Mhm.
And I chose medicine because it's one of the career paths that allows me to serve my community. It allows me to become a doctor. And I don't just want to be a regular physician. My aim is to either be a medical director in a hospital so I can change the overall system,
Mhm.
or I could even go even further and become the head of the Department of Health. Because I truly believe that the Philippines really needs to step up their game, especially comparing it to other countries like the US and UK. A lot of doctors are very underpaid and overworked. And it just makes me sad to see that the people that are helping the patients are the ones that need help. So I want to be
Yeah.
able to help those doctors so they can help the patients better.
Yeah, that is a very unique approach to the whole thing, I must say. And since you're applying to UST, just answer this for me. Why did you choose UST as your university?
So it's a no-brainer that that UST is a top university in the Philippines. And among those top, it's the best in terms of medicine. And it even offers the LeapMed, which is the best, if I could say.
Mhm.
I know friends, I know teachers, I know relatives that graduated from UST, and they have not regretted. I also really align and I'm very supportive of the mission and vision of UST. I believe that myself, I am a person of faith. I am a person of commitment, compassion, and competence. And I want to be able to be part of UST. And I want to be able to build the future. As you said, by 2030, you want UST wants to envision themselves as a leading Catholic institution. And I want to be able to see that happen. And I want to be able to support and build the momentum to getting there.
Mhm. Are there any other degree programs that you've gone for or applied for?
Yes, in UST, my other choice would be physical therapy. And for my other choices, I've also applied in LaSalle, Ateneo, and UP. And those courses were very varied because I wanted to have many choices. But all in all, they are able to help me become a doctor because they're all pre-meds. So for LaSalle, I applied for biomedical engineering. So it will allow me to have a unique take on the medical healthcare and the biotech industry. Then
Mhm.
for UP, I also did physical therapy. And for Ateneo, I did management engineering, which is pretty different and it's not the health science. But I believe that if I can learn stuff from management engineering and apply it as a head of a doctor of a hospital or at the Department of Health, I'll be able to make changes I never knew I would ever be able to.
Mhm. Yeah, nice. You also took the names of the big four universities in the Philippines, and we know that there's like a very tough competitions for students trying to get into these universities. So what do you think makes you stand out as an applicant?
I, for one, can balance my extracurriculars with my academics. And although it doesn't seem as fitting for LeapMed, which the perception is focus all on your studies, but I believe if I can balance my personal and my academic life, I can definitely excel in my academic life.
Mhm.
Another reason is that I love serving others. And I don't see the studying in LeapMed as a chore. I see it just another stepping stone to get there, another stepping stone to being able to be the person who can change not just my community, but the system and the doctors in the Philippines. And lastly, I love teaching others. And I learned that teaching others is a way to learn. So if I can teach and if I can help other people, it's a win-win situation. I'm bringing up the other LeapMed students with me.
Okay, so you talked a lot about, stepping Okay. So you talked a lot about stepping stones. So where do you see yourself in 10 years if you continue at this pace?
So at this pace, I believe that 10 years from now, I would just finish my residency and I'll be, either in family medicine, internal medicine, or in pediatrics, and I'll be uh, either working in the public health. I see myself working in the public hospital because I believe that there's a lot of things going on, and I like to make chaos in order. So I believe that's a very, very crucial step in reaching my final goal, which is to be a top head in the Department of Health.
Okay. And tell me about your strengths and weaknesses, your good and bad traits.
My strengths I would see myself as consistency. I believe that studying requires a lot of discipline, and it requires a lot of tedious, repetitive work. And I believe that I shine in that. So I don't see myself worrying much when preparing for exams, when studying material, and for revising especially. Another strength is I'm in it for the long run. I am quite patient, and I realize that I don't need to see results right away. I just need to push through and be able to understand that the vision is there, the goal is there, just keep going, and I can get there. Another strength would be my desire to serve the community. As I've said before, I love people. I love being able to do things for people. And as an aspiring doctor who'll be given the privilege to serve people, I believe that I can be able to push through any challenge or objections that may come in my way. As for my weaknesses, I can be quite rigid. I believe that more flexibility and more spontaneity would be helpful for me, as it will allow me to adjust to unforeseen changes such as schedule changes or a sudden question on the exam that I didn't expect. I believe that I should be able to do things on the fly a bit more and be able to work with people more. Another weakness is I tend to be quite vocal when I think that it's not done right. And I realize that sometimes I have to just tolerate it and be able to, work within what I can be able to do. So those are my strengths and my weaknesses.
So you mentioned earlier that you might have trouble working with people, but the medical industry, I see it functions as like, a team. There's like a surgeon and there's like so many people with them. So even though you're like going for the managerial side of the medical field, how do you think you can like maybe improve on this weakness or maybe change it for the better?
You're talking about the working with people thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I believe that one of the only ways for me to do that is to just experience it and just work with people, especially if they're difficult to work with, because that is where I'll be able to improve. That is where I'll be able to synergize and cooperate with people. And another way, of course, would be to ask people who already did it. I plan on asking, mentors and role models, how did they work so well with other people? How did they manage them? How were they able to create a great environment? And if possible, I could work with them so I could get firsthand experience.
Okay, that's a nice approach to the whole thing. Tell me about your struggles in life.
So I've grown up a very privileged life. I'm in the upper middle class, and I didn't really have any struggles. I grew up with a strong financially. So I believe that perhaps my struggle would be that I'm not getting enough struggles. I believe that I should be pushing myself more outside of my comfort zone, because if I don't, when the time comes where when push comes to shove, and I become confused and not and stressed and don't know what to do, I'll be struggling. So my struggle right now is that I'm not struggling right now, and that I need to struggle more.
That's a very good take on the whole thing. Tell me about the COVID-19 response. What do you think the country can do better or improve in terms of the Philippines COVID-19 response?
I think the Philippines tried its best, but one thing I realized was that it was very reactive in a way that, okay, the cases are going down. Okay, let's become more relaxed. And then the cases will go back up. Okay,
Mm.
when it goes back down, okay, let's be more relaxed. Then it goes back up and a new
Mm.
variant is there. So I believe being more proactive and then thinking more into the future and being a bit more strict would help. And I understand on the flip side, the alleviating the protocols was important for business and for essentials like
Mm.
buying in the groceries. But I believe being a bit more strict would have helped us more in the long term. As
Mm.
for what we can do right now, I believe that the best thing would just to import more vaccines and spread them more, because the vaccines will be able to have more immunity. And one thing I realized is not to force the vaccines onto the people, especially if they won't, because the more you force things on people, the more they will reject it. So I
Mm.
believe that just by encouraging them would benefit more.
Mm. But there are some people, some people who are like completely anti-vax. They are completely hostile to the idea of getting vaccinated. So I think simply encouraging them would not work. So what would you do to make these people take the vaccine and make the community safer in general?
Wow, that's a difficult situation, because the only thing that I can think about right now would be to not allow them to go to restaurants because they're not
Mm.
vaccinated. We're not
Mm.
hurting them, we're just not letting them. We're not forcing
Mm.
them, we're just not letting them come.
Mm.
So another way would be education, and I know it's hard to change the minds of people whose minds can't be changed, but I believe that proving it more and uh, educating more would do at least something to get them to be convinced.
Mm. Okay, I agree with your stance. So now I'm going to present some moral situations to you, and I want you to tell me what road you're going to take.
Okay.
So, if your sibling's birthday coincides with a school day or an exam day, what are you going to do?
Oh, ethical dilemma. I would still go to the exam, tell my sister, I'll do my best and I'll do it for you. Come back with a cake, then
Mhm.
celebrate the rest of the day just with the family and the next day after if there's no exam.
Hmm. Okay, and what if your mom is sick and you have an exam?
Then I would stay at
And
home. Oh, sorry.
no, continue.
Yeah, if my mom was sick or if my sister was sick or if anyone in my family was sick, I would stay at home, because it's very urgent and very important that they get better, and being there to help and make sure they're free from the sickness will is important for them.
Hmm. Say it was a board exam or maybe like the school final assessment, would you still do the same?
First, I would try to get my one of my other family members to be there.
Mhm.
If there really isn't any, or if there's just one of them, I
Yeah.
would I would not go to the board exam and I would help my mother. But if
Hmm.
there's more than enough to help, I will go to the board exam, then straight away dash home and help.
What if you were the one who was sick on the day of their board exam?
Then I would take care of myself. Wait, how severe is this? Um,
Um, let's say can't even get out of bed type sick. But like enough if you push yourself, but like very sick.
oh, okay. I would ask them to, leave some skyflakes on on the table and some some few bottles of water, because I can't walk apparently, and then send them off a good luck in their board exam.
Mm. Okay. So now I'm going to be asking you about some social political issues, and you need to tell me what you think about them, what your stand is on these situations. Okay. So tell me about what is your take on abortion in general?
My take, my take.
Mhm.
Okay, here's the thing. Everyone can have their different opinions, but I would never abort if I had the chance. Like if I were the one in control, I would never abort,
Mm.
because pregnancy, if I were the one in control of it, it should be done with responsibility. And whether we like it or not, we're taking away a human life. Now, in contrast, that let's say there was unwanted pregnancy, like for instance, rape. I believe that, abortion might be a good option in a way that it would save the children's life. I believe that's their stance, from living a horrible life, or, prevent that woman from experiencing the pain of giving birth and the financial things. But I believe there are also other alternatives, even though they're not as realistic. Like, for instance, after giving birth, you could send them off to an orphanage. But perhaps the big obstacle is the payment, because giving birth is expensive. So if I could, I would pay for it, but I don't have the money. So in general, I'm against abortion.
Okay. What about the current Russian and Ukrainian conflict that's going on? What do you think about this?
I believe that it shouldn't exist, and from the way I see it, it seems unnecessary for Russia to invade Ukraine for the reasons. I just don't see any upside of having a conflict. I don't see the upside of having any invasion. And I really think that the regulations between them should be more, should be more democratic and be able to see each other's side better.
And then a similar issue recently was the Israeli and Palestinian conflict. So what would your take be on, what would your approach be for this one?
Oh, the one this year?
Yeah, the one that happened in 2022. I mean, the Israeli invasion of Palestine has been going on for very long, but it was hyped up a lot recently. The movement got like a new face, and it started, let's say, gaining power or popularity. So there were two very extreme opposite narratives that were being given. So what do you think about the whole thing, the whole situation?
No matter how I see it, war isn't the answer, because no one wins. It's a lose-lose situation. So for the Israel and Palestine conflict, they're not going to stop until one of them loses. And I just see that as, by no means, there's no good ending for that. So I don't like that they're having the conflict.
Okay. What about the current government and all the scandals or narratives that have surrounded it? What do you think about it?
Off character, I should really research this. Okay, I have to wing it. Scandals. Sorry, could you repeat the question again?
The current government. What do you think about the current government? And there's like so many scandals about it. So
Or the Israel.
Oh, no. The current Filipino.
Oh,
yeah.
Scandals about the Philippines.
Yeah. Government.
I, for one, to be completely transparent, I haven't been completely up to date, but for one, I'm against the excessive corruption. No, corruption in general. I believe that the money given for the government should be spent wisely on improving not just the citizens' lives, but also the Philippines in general. I see streets that are not well taken care of. I see trees that are trees of green, red roads. Yeah. All in all, I just believe that the money could be spent better.
Yeah, and I agree. What do you think about the upcoming elections? What are your thoughts on it?
Oof. Okay, I will not explicitly say aside or anything, but I'm
Mm,
gonna talk about the system. First, let's talk about how there are so many candidates, and it's not
mm,
like the majority wins. It's more like
mm,
30% of the vote wins, and that's not that good.
mm,
So I just believe having a fewer candidates would be better, in my
mm,
honest opinion.
mm,
Secondly, is voters focus more on the personality of the candidate, more on their ideology. So it's
mm,
more on, oh, this person is a really good celebrity, or this person is a very nice person, compared to what they're really striving for, or what actions they want to take, or what vision they want to see for the country. And to
mm,
me, that is more important to whether you're speaking good or not.
mm,
And thirdly is, yeah, relating to before, it's more of a popularity contest.
mm,
Yeah, I believe that from my observations, voters take it too personally. They take it to like, oh, he's this candidate is like gonna be like my good friend or would be a nice person. I'll
mm,
vote for them. So I
mm,
believe we should focus more on their ideologies,
mm,
um, and focus more on what they're planning to pursue for the country. Because these things we can change. We can't really change a number of candidates.
mm.
Yes, that's
Okay, I think I've asked all of the questions. Mm, okay, tell me about your least and most favorite subjects and why they're your least and most favorite.
okay. For this year for grade 12.
Yeah.
So yeah, just this. Yeah, I'm in the STEM strand, and my least favorite subject would be media information literacy. Not because I don't like media information literacy. I believe we should all be literate in terms of media and how we use it
Mm,
properly. But that's just it. We just need to know that. We just need to know, okay, do it well. We don't really need to know the different types of media. We don't need to memorize that. It's just
mm,
like it's filling time. That's just the way I
yeah.
see the subject. I do believe it's important that you should learn how to convey your message online, offline, wherever it is, and be able to differentiate between fake news and real news, and be able to make good looking media using the different codes and conventions. But I
Mm,
believe that it could be learned better through experience, could be learned
mm,
better through examples, more than just memorizing the different names about it.
mm. I think we've had a lot of subjects in the K to 12 board where students feel that they would have learned the subject better if they were just simple practical applications instead of then being expected to memorize the material of the course. So are there any other subjects that you think align with your thoughts about MIL?
Yes, there are several other subjects, one including 21st century lit. I think it depends on the teacher, and I think our teacher does it
Mm,
pretty well. She gives examples, but then a lot of the time, I think, yeah, memorizing the different kinds of genres or the different Philippine periods, I think we should just learn it firsthand. We should learn how to write them firsthand. We should learn how to critique them firsthand, and we'll be able to learn much more in less time and much more effective. Another one was last year, oral communication. Again,
mm,
the different types of communication. No, we just need to be able I thought we'll be able to learn how to communicate well, but that was
better.
just 1 week, one chapter.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. What about your favorite subject? What can you say
Ooh.
about it?
I love every subject. I think it's a personal bias, but maybe entrepreneurship, because
Mm,
first of all, it's very firsthand, very real world, and it allows you to create a business, although it's a simulation, that has the potential to serve the community. And that just aligns with who I am and what I
mm.
want. So entrepreneurship, by far, my favorite subject this year.
But then, if you're going for this for a career in STEM, why do you think entrepreneurship is your favorite subject? Don't you think there's like a conflict here?
Oh, I don't believe there's a conflict, because As you can see, STEM is more about the knowledge, and entrepreneurship is more about the application of the knowledge. You can use what you learn in STEM. You can create, a tech startup, whatever it is. You can learn what you learn. You can make biotech. You can make chemistry. Yeah, basically, you can use what you learn in STEM and apply it in entrepreneurship.
Yeah, that's a very good approach to the whole thing. If there was like a person or multiple people that you could pick, who would you say motivates you the most? Do you know, strive for excellence or whatever?
Oh, like anyone?
Yeah, anyone.
One person at the top of my mind would be Richard Yu. He graduated from UCLA, top of his class in biology, and he was able to create a YouTube channel out of it. He was able to, give value to his people, to the viewers, while remaining humble. And right now, he's chasing his dreams. He's, and also documenting it still. So I strive to be more like him. And one thing that I love about him is that he's not shy about his faith. He prays on camera and he prays out loud. And it goes to show how much faith he has in the Lord and how much he trusts in God in his path.
So can you say that you see a little bit of yourself in him, and this he is what you want to be?
Yes, I can see that, he smudged on me. Wait, is that no? But yes, I see myself in a way imitating him because he's one of my role models, and I want to be able to impact the world the way he did.
Tell me more about your family background.
My family background. So both my parents graduated from accountancy, and that's how they met. And my dad, I believe that growing up, he learned how to be very disciplined and responsible, and I'm just glad that he did, because he was able to guide me in that and able to raise me to be not so rebellious or not so irrational. And I think that setting the boundaries for myself it was something that I'm grateful for him teaching me. And right now, my dad, he's working in a company in Indonesia, but right now remotely. So I get to spend more time with him, which is great.
Okay, that's very nice. Tell me about your favorite movie or your favorite series.
Oh, my favorite movie has got to be the original Spider-Man trilogies. I am a huge Marvel fan, but I believe that the original Spider-Man trilogies, the best of them all, in being that it's very relatable. He's not a super strong person because Peter Parker is just part of the middle class. He's struggling. He has many things that he can't control. So you actually cheer for him when he chooses the right decision, because he has been struggling. So it's something to relate to. It's an emotional. You become emotionally attached to him compared to the movies these days. And it just teaches us to be responsible with whatever power we have and be able to be selfless when it's hard to be selfless.
I think I've asked you all the questions. I'm seeing if there's anything I've left out, but yeah. Yes, so I think those are all the questions I have for you today, Arlo. Thank you so much for taking out the time to meet me and answer me. And yes.
Thank you, Miss Fatima, guys. Miss Fiza. Thank you, Fiza, for your time and for helping me with this. I really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you, Arlo.
Okay.